Something to think about with Dale Happy Knowles.
Can you feel the power? Can you feel the power? Oh boy, you know it's like that. We're gonna have an awesome show today. And what we want to do is to be able to bring on wealth of knowledge to you, to be able to help you expand your life as you go forward. So tonight, we're gonna have, as usual, that we always ask you to pause, to think intentionally and rationally about it, and then to consider where we want to go with it. What we think, we become. What we radiate, we attract. What we imagine, we can achieve. These things will make us lead to greatness. So you can join us on Facebook and give us your comments, and we'll try to endeavor to answer them during the show. And you can also sponsor and help some young startup company to advertise on the show as well. So tonight, we will be talking about the power of building a personal brand from scratch. With no wonder, then Diana's last child from the heart of the valley, Spence Finlayson. Spence is a graduate from the Big Red Machine, the Bahamas Hotel Training College, and he's also been certified from the Integrity Training Systems Institute, and he's hosted multiple radio stations, shows and TV shows, including Dare to Be Great, Success is Your Birthright, Mind Your Own Business, My Lord. Affectionately known as the Bishop of Motivation. And we know that he's been around for 33 years and the leader of that prestigious company, Phoenix Institution for Positive Development and Economic Empowerment. Welcome, Spence, and we apologize for your video.
Thank you so much, Dale Happy Knowles. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you. I will, for the lack of the video, I will have to make up in more energy and power then.
There you go. So, as we mentioned, with the power, we're going to be talking about branding.
Yes, sir.
And so we know that you know my friend, and she has said to me on a number of occasions that I seem to know everybody in the Bahamas.
Yes.
And everybody also seemed to be family.
Okay.
And so I reached out to a young mentee of sorts, Wellington Hepburn, who branded about to explode and be supernatural.
Right.
Well, he gave me a handful of people, and last week we brought on Patrice Taylor, who we know. And she has done a wonderful job of helping us to understand the skills, the potential, and the capacity of our young people to be rainmakers.
She's good people, man. She's good people. I know her very well, and she's been a good friend, and she's been a client from the institution that she worked at. Mm-hmm. So we've had interactions over a number of years. She's good people. I saw a part of that program.
Awesome. Well, that was the power of networking. Now we want to talk about the power of branding.
Yes.
So we will start with the fundamentals. Now, Entrepreneur Small Business Encyclopedia defines branding as the marketing practice of creating a name, symbol, or design that identifies and differentiates a product from other products.
Yes.
I define it as presenting oneself in a manner that simply welcomes others as family in whatever relationship what we may be in, personal, professional, business, or the state.
Yes.
So we ask you, can you define for us, from a professional point of view and your experience of 33 years, what is branding and the fundamentals thereof?
Okay, thank you again, Dale. Happy Knowles. My definition is almost very similar to yours. Personal branding for your business, personal branding is the process of the art of separating yourself from everybody else, making yourself become exclusive in terms of the brand, becoming brand conscious, becoming name conscious, and identifying the factors that makes you unique from your competition. I came up with a few, I call them rules, and if you allow me to just go through a few of them, so I could amplify what I'm talking about. You know, you mentioned part of my bio. You read that I'm now affectionately called the Bishop of Motivation. Let me just draw the illustration to you very quickly. When I first started off, of course, I worked at in the hotel industry at Paradise Island. I ended up as an assistant manager at for resorts before it became Atlantis. I left and I joined Botelco as a sales representative for the Yellow Pages, working in Nassau, some of the family islands in South Florida, and 1 or 2 years we did Atlanta. But when I left Botelco to go full-time into this business as a motivational speaker and a trainer, I made a conscious decision. I was intentional, and the name was called Spence Finlayson and Associates, Sales Training Consultants. That was the original name. You see, everything goes back. Branding goes to naming also, and you need to pick out something that stands up. When I left here to go to the Caribbean, I changed the name to Motivation International, because now I'm international. And then a few years later, I had a wonderful experience, a rebirth experience. So I changed the name of my company to Phoenix, which has nothing to do with Arizona. It has to do with the mythical bird that existed for over 500 years, and it rose from the ashes. So that's the process. Now, the Bishop of Motivation. When I started, Happy, I was called the Master the Motivator. I was called the Motivator because it was so new back then. You're talking 34 years ago. It was so new. And people didn't know how to categorize me. They all thought I was a pastor because they really never see it. No, he's the pastor. He's up there talking and stuff like that. So for a number of years, I was called the Motivator. And then I was invited by the Life Underwriters Association of the Bahamas to speak at their conference, which was held in Fort Lauderdale. Keith Major was the president of the association at the time. It was truly an honor because I was the first Bahamian to be invited to speak to one of these functions. When I was finished, Keith Major rushed up to me and he says, "Man, you're so good. You're not just a motivator, you're a master motivator." And that name stuck. If you know Keith Major, he's very demonstrative. That name stuck, Master Motivator. So for a number of years, I was known as the Master Motivator, and that's branding. That's branding. That's branding. Recently, a few years ago, I was invited to speak to Bishop Moses Johnson's Church of God organization. They had a retreat in Small Hope Bay, Andros. I was the only non-clergy on the program. I spoke on leadership, and when I was finished, a bishop from Abaco came named Kenneth Major. And he said, "Bishop Finlayson said this, Bishop Finlayson said that," and he went on. I said, he said, "You're a bishop. You're a bishop of motivation." Here again, Happy, that stuck. All right. And ironically, and you need to tag things, I was named after 2 Anglican bishops. My first name is Spence, after Bishop Spence Burton, who was an Anglican bishop here in the late 50s. My middle name is Michael, after the other Anglican bishop. So it's all in terms of branding, and I pay a lot of attention to how it is written, how it is projected, and everything else. Now, one of the keys for me in terms of personal branding is you have to be focused, Happy. You have to be focused, eh? You have to decide what your key message is going to be and to stick with it. I'm asked to be involved in so many things, Happy, and all I know is this is what I do. Right. This is what I do. I stay focused. I run my own race. I stay in my lane. I don't get mixed up in any other things. All right. I do TV. I do radio. I've written books and stuff like that. But it's all a part of my branding package. People call me all the time to do this and that, but I stay focused. You remember years ago when the racetrack was here, Hobby Horse Hall? Yeah. Those horses had something on their eyes called blinders or blinkers.
Yeah.
And the reason for that was that they could see straight ahead and focus and run towards the finish line. That's what we need in your business. A lot of times people get in, they want to do so many different things. They're not focused. One day they're doing this, the next day they're doing that. But I get, no. This is what I do, and this is my 34th year coming to do this, because this is what I do. I don't do anything else. And this is not part-time. I don't get up today and say, okay, I'm going to be a motivational speaker today and go there. No, I live this, and I'll talk more about that as we come up in the program. Now, you know you brought on a talker, right?
No, I know. So I just letting you catch yourself, because you know, after the troubles with the video.
No, I all right. I'm all right, man. This technology, man, these things happen all the time. These things.
So if we look back at the fundamentals now, right?
Yes.
There are some persons who say that branding is basically what people say about you when you are no longer in the room. So
that's an excellent one.
So
that's an excellent one.
Yeah. So we talk about the fundamentals. To me, the fundamentals of branding is your visual, the image that you illuminate.
Yes.
It's the language that you employ.
Yes.
It's the attitude that you radiate. It's the authentic aura that you have. And it's the connotation inferred by the image and all those things.
Exactly, Happy. Exactly.
So how would you help people understand those and any other fundamentals that you have on the table?
Yes. Okay. You want me to continue on?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. We're talking the same language here. The other thing you have to do is you have to be genuine. You just mentioned that. Authentic. You have to be real. For me, this is not an act. I don't get up one day and go on stage and act and speak in this way. I speak in my own native Bahamianese, even when I travel. I'm reminded about Dr. Miles Monroe. We run into one another a couple of times on the road. And Dr. Monroe never changed his accent. He never, that didn't matter where he was speaking. You could tell he was from the Bahamas or it was the same thing. And that's exactly what I do. So I'm authentic. I'm real, and I have to be genuine. This is because people could spot a phony very quickly. They could spot you very quickly if you're phony. And when I'm on stage and even outside, I have to be real. I have to be me. I'm always me. I can't separate myself because I'm in a unique position here, Happy. I'm my own product.
Right.
I'm the product, and the product is very visible. So at all intents and purposes, at all times, I have to be in top shape, particularly even when I'm speaking. I just shared the other day, I spoke to the Royal Bahamas Police Force Band, and I was speaking to them, and I mentioned that I'm almost like them. I can't have an off night. I have to bring my A game every time I speak, because if I'm off, I may not get another job. Because there will be some people in that room who will say, man, I heard Finlayson, you know, good. So every night I have to be real, genuine, and bring my A game. I don't have the luxury of falling off or nothing like that. And that's part of my branding. I'm known as a high energy speaker. I have to bring the energy and the power and the dynamism every single time. It doesn't matter if I'm speaking to a group of 10,000 or 4 people. I bring the same energy because it translates.
So, and that's why I brought you on, because we're talking about self-branding.
Yes.
Right? And Spence Inc. or Happy Inc. or whatever it is, those things travel with us 24/7, 365.
Exactly.
So those fundamentals that I talked about and the other ones that you mentioned are all critical for young persons to be able to develop so that they can then manage and leverage themselves to be able to advance to where they want to go.
Exactly.
Yes. So Peter F. Drucker talks about the fact that marketing and innovation are the 2 basic fundamental functions of a business, right? And we all know that a business purpose is to create and keep a customer.
Yes.
So if that's the case, and branding is a subset of marketing, then we could see the ties between the 2 as to why it's important to brand yourself well.
Exactly. Exactly.
So how was that with your experience in terms of along the journey in getting to that point where you would be able to be a sound brand?
Yes, thank you. You know, I worked hard at it and consistently. Here's an example, a real one. A situation happened here, a murder happened here in Nassau some years ago. And the report said that the murder happened at a particular nightclub.
Mhm.
The next night, the owners of that nightclub was on the news refuting that, saying it didn't happen at their nightclub. It happened in the parking lot, which was adjacent to them.
Yeah.
Now, the average person would say, what's the big deal? Okay.
Mhm.
The big deal is that it didn't happen. They want to separate themselves because that would damage their brand. And we have to pay attention to keeping the brand clean because that's all we have. If you mess up your brand, that's it.
Right.
Now, here's what I've been able to do, and this is only through God and everything else, Happy. I realized what my brand means to me and to other people when I was called on just recently. Here's a good example. Last year, I got a call from a producer from National Geographic TV saying that they wanted me to appear. They were doing a story on the young American girl from Torrance, California, who was bitten by the shark off Rose Island, which became a big story. But they wanted to do it from the mother's perspective and how she was coping with that and everything else. So we agreed and everything else. And then I said to them, I said, but how did you know me and how did you find me? She says, we did our research and you come highly recommended. Your brand speaks for you. Mm-hmm. We spoke to a few people then in the Bahamas, and then we went online and saw your videos. And we said, this is the ideal person who we would like to interview for our program. They came here and we did a day of filming in the front of Rose Island. It appeared on their program a couple of months ago called Shark Fest. Okay. Yeah, for the entire 3 or 4 months it was aired. All right. But that solidified what I was working towards. You have to be very careful with the brand, and the brand trade translates into dollars. Mm-hmm. All right. If you have a good brand, and particularly Bahamians are brand conscious.
Yeah, we can get to the dollar spot after the break. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
You going up to a break now?
No, about 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. Wrap that up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So you have to really be very conscious and intentional about your brand, your image, and everything else. As I mentioned to you earlier, I am my product, so I'm very careful when I go out and how I conduct myself and everything else, because I could very easily damage my brand in 2 seconds. So I pay a lot of attention to that. And the thing is, I'm consistent. I'm very consistent. You know what you're going to get from me. All right. I'm not here today. Oh, this is what's going on here. It's like, let me wrap this up. Can I get it 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Let me tell you how powerful the brand is. Mm-hmm. My wife and I went on a Mediterranean cruise when I turned 50, Happy. And the travel agent gave me some wrong information, and I hate wrong information. Mm-hmm. They told me I could get a van from Heathrow Airport into the city in London for a couple of pounds. No, that was not true, and it cost me £100 to get into the hotel. Mm-hmm. So you know what kind of damage that was on the cruise, right? Yep. So my wife and I decided that we were going to eat some McDonald's, all right? Be cutting down on this expensive thing. We went to McDonald's in London. Mm-hmm. I'm happy. It was the same taste as if I was on Madeira Street McDonald's.
There you go.
The same brand and the consistency of the brand. You know what you're going to get every single time.
Yes.
And that's what it's all about.
Right.
The brand.
The consistency.
Consistency.
That is key, fundamentally.
Yes. The consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And that's why I really wanted you to be on video, because I know when we talk about the bishop, I think they was really talking about how you dress. Because
well, I'm dressed. I know. Yeah. I'm dressed. I'm dressed, Happy.
You gotta do it from your phone, but anyway, so
my cell phone.
Yeah, before we go to the break.
Okay, we can try that when we're on the break.
Yeah.
Okay.
So before we go to the break now, when did you decide to monetize your gifts, and was it receptive by the locals or internationals, or did you have a struggle with that?
Yes. Well, I decided after I came back from training with the people who brought me into the business out of the U.S., and I did my first seminar at the old Ambassador Beach Hotel, and I remember charging $149 per person to come to it. It was received well because it was mid-range. It wasn't high, it wasn't low. It was mid-range.
That's a thing nugget.
Yeah, it wasn't high and wasn't low, mid-range. You're just coming into the market. And then I was getting some success. But the major success, the major people were still, you're not sure about him and this and that and so forth. And that's the comments you get. But here's what you have to do, Happy. You have to go out to come back. I had to leave here to go out to come back. And the ironic thing is, I'm saying the same things when I came back that I was saying before. But the difference is, I've been somewhere. Some other people accepted me. Okay. And that's how we are, Some other people accepted me. They said, well, boy, if he could speak for these people, we need him here. And when we come from the break, I will tell you a story that dramatizes that.
Okay.
Okay. Let me see if I can do it on my cell phone then, Happy.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to take this break now. And on our way back, we will hear more from the Bishop of Motivation.
Some call him a speaker. Some call him a trainer. Some call him an inspirator. Others call him a facilitator. Most call him a master motivator. But you can call him too. He's many things to many people. Spence Finlayson, founder, president, and CEO of the Phoenix Institute for Positive Development and Empowerment. Bahamian-born, international motivational speaker, corporate trainer, author, talk show host, and Bahamian Icon Award nominee. The Phoenix Institute specializes in motivational speaking, supervisory training, customer service training, seminars, workshops, retreats, and customized in-house training programs. Call 242-601-6162 or email phoenixinstitute@gmail.com, and our website is www.spencefinlayson.com.
I feel like I was just on another planet.
Welcome back.
Happy, I'm on.
Yeah, we got the one only, the Bishop of Motivation in the house.
Yes.
All of his job.
Yes.
Including the, I forget what you call the thing on the lapel.
This is courtesy of my sister-in-law. I got to give her some plugs. Karen Sampson. She keeps me fixed up with all of these.
Yes. So, Spence, you was telling us a little bit about the story, and you're going to tell us a story.
Yes, let me.
Yes. I know that's one of the key things as a fundamental of branding is also to be able to have your story continue on.
Exactly. Let me just share this. As I mentioned, you have to go out to come back. You have to leave your home because it's biblical. A prophet is without honor in his own home. It's biblical. Don't care where it's biblical. So I had to leave here and go out. Now, the first country I went to was the Cayman Islands, and they accepted me with open arms. I mean, it was unbelievable. And here's the part of being accepted. I did a training for the customs department in Cayman, all of the senior officers, everybody. And it went so well and everything else. And then the following year, all of the controllers of customs in the Caribbean, they used to have a meeting in like a different Caribbean country. This particular year, it was held in St. Lucia. And our controller of customs was a man named John Roll, good man. Yeah. All right. And John Roll shared this story with me. He was having a discussion with the controller of customs in Cayman, Colin Parry. And he said, Mr. Parry was talking so much about me. And he said, you know Spence Finlayson? So John said, he said, yeah, I know him. And John said, I tried to figure out why this man is so pumped up about Spence. I know Spence. Yeah, I know him. I know his family. So he said, and this man went on talking about me. Anyhow, 2 days later, I got a call from John Roll's office to come back home to Nassau to do a similar training for our customs department. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to go out to come back. And somebody out there have to say, this fella is good. Now, John knew me before this man.
Right,
John knew me all my life. And that is part of the problem because you become, they see you, oh, this is a carpenter's son. You know, my father was a carpenter.
Right.
My mother was a straw vendor. You know, okay, that's all it is. But when other people accept you, that's when. Another funny story on this, on acceptance. Sorry. I was invited by the Caribbean Confederation of Credit Unions to speak at their conference, which is being held in the Cayman Islands, 1996. And I was hired by Barbados and Cayman as the keynote speaker. There were 500 people in the room, happy, from 16 English-speaking countries, and I was speaking for 2 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, 2 hours. Matter of fact, the people in the room was carrying on. The gentleman didn't know I was a speaker because I like to be anonymous and then just blow out, you know?
Right.
So while they're wiring me up and getting ready to run up on with the music from Rocky, he's saying, who's going to speak for 2 hours, man? I ain't going to be in this room. So he didn't know I was a speaker. Anyhow, I got up to speak, and I was on fire. Do you know who was the first person to clap me up?
The man.
A Jamaican. Yes.
Oh, boy.
Yes. Then the Trinidadians. Then the Caymanians who knew me. And there were 50 Bahamians in that room. I could see them right now. And they were looking at me like, what is this? All right. Now, I couldn't figure it out. And it's ironic. I spoke to a group last year, and the lady was in that group. She went to Patelco, who happened to be at the conference. And she said to me, Mr. Finlayson, you know what happened? So we were just blown away. We couldn't believe this was our homeboy from Nassau in an international audience, and these people was eating it up.
Right.
Okay? Now, because of that, I got a lot of other jobs here in Nassau, but I had to go out. People have to see you out. And here again, I need the pricing, I need to reinforce this. Happy, when I realized the league I was playing in as a motivational speaker is when I was hired to speak to Barbados, to the Bahamas Hotel and Tourism Association as their keynote speaker. When I was finished, the organizer, the president said, white person says, oh my God, you were so good, man, you were good. And say, come to think of it, you were not our first choice. I said, what? Oh, say we wanted Les Brown, but he wanted $34,000 to speak. And say we were having a meeting, and a Jamaican man in the meeting says, man, don't worry about Les Brown. So there's a Bahamian fella better than Les Brown. Say, what's his name? Spence Finlayson. Say, what's his contact? Say, I don't have it. Say, Google him. That's how I got the job. And I told Les about that when we connected one time. He killed himself laughing, but I realized that this was where I was, the league I was playing in. I was able to raise my fees based on that and some other things. But you have to be careful on moving your fees and changing them and so forth. And again, with your fees, you have to be consistent. You have to bring value. You can't just be raising it.
And you just hit the nail on the head, because I was just going to ask you, what makes your value?
Yes. Right? Yes. Well, that's a good question. What makes my value is what I bring to the table. My years of experience, my past tremendous success that I've had in this industry as a speaker. And people know I'm tried and true. There's no, you know what you're going to get when you get him. You don't have to worry about, boy, Will he be accepted with these people that like him? No, we know we're going to hit a home run with him. And that's the comments I get wherever I speak. Man, this guy, we're so glad we brought you in because everybody loved your presentation. Right. So you know what the value is when you bring that, but it comes with time. You know, you're not going to get that right off the beginning.
No, fair. So that's key too. Then that the youth out there can not that it cannot happen, but it's not unreasonable for them to have their growth happen over time versus just instantly.
Yeah. Oh, there's no such thing as an overnight success. It's not going to happen instantly. People who you see and you think they're successful overnight, they've been working hard at that for many, many years. Right. All right. And then they have their breakthrough. But there's no such thing. And you have to take your time. I know young people are impatient. They want this thing now. Yeah. Happy, when I started, there was really no one for me to go to. I had to find my way through this business. There was no one to ask. It was a new territory, and there was a lot of trial and error and so forth. I remember people asking, say, motivation, what you do? Do you get paid for that? You just, people pay you just to talk and so forth like that, right? So it was new. But now today, there's so many people running around. But here again, that's for me. I have to separate myself from them. And part of branding is this. Can you imagine you're at the Clifford Park and we're having the independence celebrations? And you're watching, as I like to watch, the uniform branches parade. Right. Now you're watching the Defense Force in their resplendent white. And they're marching. And I watched this myself. And you see a woman sitting there, a young lady said, see my husband there? Oh, no, that here. See him there? Oh, that's him. Everyone looks just alike. All right? They look just alike. What you have to do in terms of your branding is separate yourself from everybody else. Right. Find something that works for you to separate yourself.
But that's easy thing to do.
Sorry?
Because that's easy thing to do because God made us all unique.
Yes. And that brings to the next point. Don't try to copy anybody else. Bring your own style. Right. Bring your own style and let them accept that. That's you. That's who you are. But besides that, you have to study your craft. You have to work on your craft. A lot of people just get into things and they just do it, little whatever buck up goes. No. You have to work on your craft, man. Constantly work on it. When I first started Happy, I took any speaking opportunity I would get. I spoke to churches. I spoke to schools. I created my own school tour. Tour of the school. Yeah, I created that. And Minister Kevin Harris, who was a great branding fellow, who's now in charge of the Bahamas Information Services, his group, the singing group called System 3, was my opening act on the school tours. Wow. Could you imagine that? And I took it to the Family Islands. I remember going into Andros and came back home, and I got a call from a man named Mr. Huntley Christie. He was the principal of one of the schools, and he said, Mr. Vincent, we need you to come back. But I didn't have that in the budget. It was not budgeted. Right. This was a long time ago. Right, But he said, you got to come back to see if you could do something again. This was so good. Right. Yes.
So preparation is a huge part of those fundamentals that people must do, right, in order to be successful. Yes. So whenever that opportunity comes, you could capitalize on it.
Yeah, there's a saying, it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. I constantly work at my stuff, man, and seeing ways that I can improve it. Because here's the challenge to Happy. I've been at this so long now, in a sense, that people think they know me. So I have to constantly and consistently reinvent myself. Right. You have to keep reinventing yourself because people think they know you. Here's the crowning glory I got the other day. 3 years ago, Dr. Ronnie Knowles was celebrating 30 years at the Kidney Center. Right. I grew up in the Valley, as a Valley boy you mentioned earlier. And so I thank him for inviting me. He said, no, you didn't get this because of me. He said, my people called you. And I said, okay, well, I know him from a child, but you didn't get it because of me. So here's the deal. I didn't know the prime minister was going to be there. Perry Christie was prime minister at the time. Okay. So I spoke, did my thing. And he came up after me and he said, Spence, this is the first time I ever heard you speak. He said, man, you are something else. He says, it's a good thing you decided not to go into politics because you was going to be trouble in that parliament.
Oh, gee.
He
Still
tried to get,
can.
yeah, he tried to get me to run. You see, and I told him, no, I'm focused on what I do. Here again, I'm happy staying in my lane,
Right.
running my own race. So I found that very interesting because that when I did that, I was already in the business for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he hear people talk about me and stuff like that, but he had never been in the room when I spoke.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And so when I saw that opportunity, of course, I was ready, eh? And you have to be ready. I took it up another notch.
Yeah. So all of that, we're talking about another notch now. So we talk about the fundamentals and what you need to do in order to create a brand.
Yes.
So now let's talk about the dynamics of that journey from the beginning when you were performing without charging people to where you now become greatness and you can be charging what you need to charge or what you want to charge or even give charity if you want to give charity.
Exactly. And that's what I do sometimes. I consider it a part of my gift, my tithing to the organizations, you know, but it's been an interesting ride. What I've discovered too in terms of your fees, and this may be obvious to some people, you can get more, of course, higher fees when you speak internationally.
Right.
All right. So you adjust your fee structure for your local market, your native market. And I do that consistently. I mean, what the market will bear here. And let's see what they could bear. And you don't have to try to kill people and so forth.
Right.
You see, this is my life. I'm so grateful to God that he gave me this gift. This is the gift that keeps on giving happy. I'm living my purpose. I know today this is what I was put here to do. So a lot of times I speak for free.
Right.
And I choose which groups and organizations because I decide this is where I want to make an impact. I want to make a difference. God gave me this gift. I'm going to use it for his honor and glory. And that's what I do. Now, in my business, it's not an exact science. I know you're a scientist, but this is not an exact science. You know, you could charge someone, say, $500, and they may think it's high, and you could charge someone $500, and they say, oh, that's a deal. Right. It's not an exact science. So it takes some, you know, fooling around, just juggling with the figures and to see what you get from it. But I would advise any young person coming in, try to create some value first before you start raising your fees and giving these fees. If you, a lot of times in the beginning, I spoke for free because you don't know who's going to be in that audience.
Right.
I spoke at Rotary in those places, and the next thing I know, I'm getting a call from the CEO of this company, that company, the next company. Okay. So, and that's why I keep saying I have to bring my A game every time I speak happy. Right. Every time.
And that's why I was saying that when you do those things, when you give away in certain forums and stuff, part of that is part of your branding of being able to get your brand out.
Exactly.
In front of many people, because the more people have it, the more chance of multiplying.
Exactly.
Right.
You hit the nail right on the head. That's what you do. That's right. You want to be visible. You know, and one of the things that for me in terms of branding, when I first started Happy, I created my first television show, and here are the gifts. All right, and this is nothing about bragging, but I never did TV or nothing, never did on anything. And I decided an effective way for me to get my brand out there and my message out there initially was to create a TV show.
Okay.
It was called The Possible Dream. And it was just me and my cameraman, Chris Knowles, who's up at ZNS now. Chris Knowles, would be me and him in that room. And I'm just, once that red light came on, I'm just talking to go, bang. But one of my best quotes came out from one night we were taping at the old Royal Bahamas Hotel, and I was out of words, and this thing came into my head from God, says, you can't plant corn and expect to reap strawberries.
Oh, gee.
And to this day, people still know me by that. And that just came out of nowhere, bang. But I know it's God. So that TV show introduced me to the country as a speaker. Because, like I say, people thought I was a pastor and this and that and all kinds of things. They didn't know where to categorize me. And but here's the other part of the branding. Once I started in television, I had to keep that up.
Right.
Because people think that's what you do.
Yeah.
You know, people thought I worked at ZNS. You know? Yeah, so you have to consistently be visible, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
You may not have to be TV, but you have to be on a program like Happy's program here. You have to do your own videos. You do some YouTube stuff. You have to get into the newspapers, on a few radios. You have to be visible with your brand, because people assume that if they don't hear you or see you, you're not doing it anymore.
Right.
And that's a serious injustice.
Yeah. Okay, so as we go into this last portion of the show,
You mean I didn't talk all of that, Happy?
Huh?
I didn't speak all that.
Yeah. Help our audience understand what is the power of a well-tuned brand.
Ooh, man, the power of a well-tuned brand is that could get you in some places that you will never even dreamed of. I told you, National Geographic got me to do their TV program. Here's the power of branding. A lady hit me up on LinkedIn, and Happy, I'm on all the sites, social media. I'm on all. I have a presence on all. Eh? That's important.
Right.
A lady hit me up on LinkedIn from Atlanta, Georgia, and she says, can we have coffee? And so I responded. I said, well, I'm in the Bahamas. She says, I know, but I'll send you a link for Zoom, and we'll have a conversation. So, a lot of times you get these things. So I said, let me just see what's this about. So sure enough, she hit me up, and she says, I'm a real estate developer and an agent and so forth in Atlanta, and I've been following you for 3 years. I've watched all your videos on YouTube. I know all these things. And she said she has a timeshare at Atlantis and so forth. And then she says, I want you to come to Atlanta to speak to my staff. I said, okay, fine. So we talked, and here's the branding. She called me one day and she says, do you play golf, Spence? And I said, no, but I have a good friend who plays golf, Craig Tooney Gomez. You know Craig?
Yeah.
I said, he's my boy. We went to school together, and I said, he played golf. I don't play. She says, well, I'm going to send you a couple of shirts for you on him. And guess what, Happy? I'm wearing the shirt right now. Yeah, I did. Okay. She sent me that. And this is her branding, eh? She sent me 5 shirts, and she sent this book. Her name is Weddington Realty. Okay. Now, that's how important branding is. And speaking of branding, I'm wearing my Master Motivator Spence Finlayson Speakers Academy jacket tonight on this program. You have to take every opportunity to promote what you do. This is your brand. And I am my product. So I take the opportunity wherever I go. Here's even a part of branding, Happy, that people don't even realize. Even in the church. I'm an Anglican, like I said earlier, and I go to St. Barnabas. And then I'm also at Bahamas Harvest with a fellow Anglican, Pastor Barrio. And in St. Barnabas, the ushers would always, when the scheduled reader is not there, they would tap on my shoulder and say, Mr. Finlayson, we need you to read. Okay. Now, here's what I do. I said, okay. I says, let me see what I'm reading. And they pointed out to me, and I see it. And while the service is going on, I'm studying that.
Right.
When I go up there and read, flawless, because it's my brand again. You see what I'm saying? Even in the church. I can't go up there and mess up the words and things. And people say, well, and this fellow's supposed to be a top speaker and all these kind of things. It's your brand. What is it? Any kind of
especially when they give you them Old Testament with them big, long words, about 10 syllables and everything.
That's why I rehearsed before I go. I said, let me see the program, exactly what I'm reading, and when I go up there, it's like that. So you have an opportunity every time with the brand. But part of this also is one of the other rules of personal branding is you have to tell a story, Happy.
Right.
You have to be able to tell a story. And I've learned to be a master storyteller. I could weave in things, drop things in, because I grew up in a time when we didn't have TV and all these internet and all these things. We played in the government road. Right. And an older person in the valley would sit in the middle of the road, and we all sit there and under the light, and they would regale us with stories, Bookie, Barabi, and all these things. And you feel like you've been all over the world just hearing these stories. Yeah.
So you tell a story. Barabi is. Yeah.
Huh?
Most of them don't even know.
No, they wouldn't know what that is. But you have to create a positive and compelling story, a great narrative. and then use your videos. These young people could use it. Use the video and talk about yourself. Talk about what you're doing.
Right.
The other thing is, you have to be consistent. Be consistent. Some people do something now and then they stop.
Yeah.
No, if this is your brand, I'll be every single day as a motivational speaker. I make sure I put something positive on my Facebook page, on my LinkedIn page.
Invest in yourself.
Invest, yes. Every single time I have something there, I give something on my videos. A lady just hit me up the other day and she says, my wife died in December, eh?
Yes.
So watch this now. She says, you know, you're an amazing man because your wife just died. And I knew you were grieving, but you still find time to pour into others what you put out there. And the quality of the stuff you put out there is A1. You don't know who's watching you.
Right.
This person just sent that into my messenger box. You don't know who's watching you. This is a critical one, Happy. I know we only have about 5 minutes.
No, you go ahead. We'll finish up. Finish up.
Okay,
I can cut you when it's time to cut you.
okay. And Happy, what I also do, and you've been a part of that, is you wanna celebrate other people's success. You can't be selfish.
Right.
And I had you featured in my program called Profiles in Excellence. I look for good people who have done things. And you know, Happy, the comments I get back from that, one lady just broke down crying with me on the phone. She said,
she saw my picture, she cried?
She cried. She said, all my life, no one has ever honored me for anything. And you honored me on Facebook. It's serious stuff. So share. The other point is you have to be ready to fail.
Yes.
You have to be ready to fail.
Failure is not the opposite of success, you know.
No, exactly.
Failure is the foundation for success.
Yes, sir. You have to fail. Like Walt Disney. Remember, people don't know, Walt Disney was told when he worked at a newspaper in Kansas City that he couldn't draw.
Right.
Could you imagine that? He couldn't draw. They fired him.
Yeah,
and now that's
Michael Jordan, he could
the whole thing. Okay?
Yeah.
So you got to, because people love a comeback story. They love a comeback story because it's a story. My comeback story is this one, and I share this as often as I can. I was invited to speak to the PLP convention in 1992. I'm going to be brief with this. Yeah, as a motivational speaker.
Right.
And they were paying me, of course. I was supposed to speak for 10 minutes, and we agreed on a $500 fee, which I thought was great. Because 10 minutes, and then I'm going to be on national TV, and you know, you can't lose. And the PLP was in power for 25 years and all this stuff. And again, there's spin-offs and all that. Right? But before I went on, I asked Mr. Maynard, Doug Maynard, who was the chairman at the time. I said, do I have to say PLP all the way and all the other slogans? Right? He said, no, man, do what you do on TV. We just want you to motivate the delegates. Happy at that time, I had my first show called The Possible Dream. I just mentioned it was on TV. So I went on, didn't talk no politics, strictly motivation. So Lyndon got up clapping me, A.D. Hanna got up clapping me, and then Sir Clement, right? So I ended up speaking for 25 minutes. So when I went down to Mr. Maynard, he said, boy, you going over time, boy, but it was good. Go get your money from the store. And they gave me cash money. But months later, the PLP lost that election. And Happy, my life changed and my business went from here to there. And that's why I don't get involved in politics in my business anymore. And that's how I ended up out of this country, because I couldn't get work. Everybody labeled me as Pinling's boy, this and that, and the next thing.
Right.
And I'm paid. This is what I do for a living. If the FNM had called me, I would do it. If Rodney had called me with his Workers' Party at the time, I would do it.
Yeah.
And that's how I ended up out here.
That's what we said earlier, it's branding ultimately is what people say about you when you're no longer in the room.
Exactly. Exactly.
So they labeled you.
Yes.
And then that was a problem. I remember Dr. Miles Monroe, they labeled him as a cult driver.
Yes.
Leader. And he went international, and there are many people bigger than him in life internationally.
Exactly.
So when we look at that brand now, you already have that brand fine-tuned and rolling. When you walk into a room, we talked about when you're out the room. How does that brand help you when you walk into the room?
I could feel
something to the table.
When I walk into the room, I could feel the air of expectancy and excitement. because people have already see my name precedes me now. People already said, boy, this fella good, yeah, man, he could be there. He's speaking, man, you better be there. So you could feel the anticipation, people, the joyful anticipation waiting for you to hit that platform and that stage. And I walk in very confidently, not arrogant, just confident, because I know what I'm about. And I can be confident because I know what I'm about to say.
Right.
I know my material.
You
I studied it. I ain't guessing. I ain't feeling this. I know. You see, I don't speak on what I don't know. I don't speak on what I don't know.
Makes sense.
You can't get me to speak on anything to do with telecommunications. Even though I worked at Petelco, I don't know these things. I worked in the direction department. So I can't speak on them things. I speak on what I know. And I speak from a vantage point of experience and knowledge. And people would rather, what I've discovered, people would rather they could identify more with your failures than your success.
Right.
So you can't go out there and say you flew in here first class on British Airways and all. No. You talk about the difficulties, but happy, I always wanted to work. I was always a hard worker. As a young man, and these young people should know that, I always wanted a summer job. In fact, I got a summer job at age 12 at Business Systems on Dowsville Street as their messenger.
Right.
And I was too young to ride the motorbike that they had for the messenger. So the general manager rented a bicycle for me from NBC on East Bay Street, when it used to be up there.
Okay.
It had a carriage on the front for me to take mails. I was riding that bicycle from Dowsville Street to Nassau International Airport to deliver mail for that company.
Right.
When I'm entering the airport, guess who I see coming? He had a summer job at the hospital at the dispensary. My lifelong friend, Craig Tuning Gomez. And he said, look at my boy, and I'm pedaling into the airport. That's how serious I have to be. I find a lot of people today are kind of lazy. They're just lazy. And then you have to understand and appreciate the value of time. People don't understand time. They don't appreciate it. My mother taught me time. She said, you walk from school. I said, walk to school, the primary school. I lived in the area, Eastern Junior, Palmdale.
Right.
So I could walk there. But she would tell me, leave home this time. And to this day, what my mother taught me, who came out of school at age 13, I know time so well today that, I mean, it's incredible. If you invite me to a party and you say starting 9 o'clock, I'm there. And people still putting bears in the cooler and they got curlers in their hair because it ain't starting 9. You know what I'm saying? But I'm time. And you see, if you say you're going to be happy, while working for Petelco in Fort Lauderdale, I had an appointment up to from Miami to Pompano Beach, 9 o'clock one morning. And I got on I-95 and I drove up there and I got there 5 minutes to spare. The man says, you here? I said, are you a Bahamian? Yes.
Yeah.
He didn't
Well, that happens a lot,
he didn't expect to see me.
But, there are people, right? For example, when you or Dr. Miles Monroe or some of the people who have built that excellent brand, right?
Yes.
When they walk into a room and you talk about the expectation, that equity is just like cash in the bank.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so people will give you opportunities because you already built a reputation for yourself.
Exactly.
That they know what to expect. They know the Spence is going to come sharp. He's going to be prepared.
Right.
He's going to be focused. He's not going to go
be on time.
course.
You got to be worried about him.
He's going to respect the people whose audience he has. He's not going to go and throw rocks and bottles at their friends or whatever right? And so when you build that up, that's just like when you have a business and when you duplicate yourself in a business, then the business becomes to blossom and expand quickly. So when you build that brand, then that equity for the brand equity is going to work for you. And whether that's in motivational speaking or that's just being a negotiator in the room, some people just get intimidated. By the fact that you're in the room.
That's right.
Right?
Right.
So those brand powers are huge. And if our young people learn that with their creativity, then to me, the sky is the limit. They could be rainmakers tomorrow.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. But they have to be disciplined too, eh?
Yes.
You know what I've discovered? And this there's a segment of barbers who don't understand the value of time and anything else. I have about 5 barbers happy, not because I had good hair or nothing like that. They don't do it. But here's what happened. I would go to the first barber, and they said it's open up 8 o'clock. 8:30, 9 o'clock, you ain't see nobody yet. So, you're in business, so you go to the next one. And this is what I've done. And I go to the next one, and the lady out front says, "Oh, at the child, you ain't gonna see them right now because they've been out partying last night. They ain't coming right now. But you say you open 8. And if you've been partying till 8, 7 o'clock in the morning, you gotta be serious about your business." I went to one barber, and the fellas tell me, say, "Oh, yeah, now he going out to buy his number." Seriously, you got people.
That's a secondary business for him.
So people don't understand the importance, and even people who operate retail clothing store, especially people of color, we're not disciplined. The minute we don't see any customers coming in, we gotta put up a sign, coming right back, gone. The minute you leave is when people come. Take a note from the Chinese.
That's also what happens with success. A lot of people quit just before they're going to be successful.
Exactly. They quit right around the curve. And I use this example, the casino. I went to casino a couple of times. I like the casino. I don't gamble. I don't know nothing about gambling, but I like the energy in the casino when I travel and I'm speaking. And I saw a Jamaican fellow. Again, he was playing and he chatting with me and he playing. Then he stopped. He said, "Man, I can't win." He stopped. An old white lady came and she went right on the same slot machine and boom, jackpot. He didn't stay around. Exactly what you said, Alfie. He didn't stay around to see it through. And we do that all the time.
Yeah. So, Bishop.
Yes, sir.
Diana's last child.
The last pain.
There you go. Tell us or tell them what you would like them to know or what to help them, inspire them to become the great that you are.
Yeah. One of the things I would like to leave with them, you can't do this thing alone. You need to develop a support system because some things could go wrong. You need some people you could call and say, "Boy, this happened today." And they counsel you and console you and everything else. You need to have a great prayer life. My motivation comes from God. This is not in the sky and all these kind of things. It's God, simply God. And good God for me means good, orderly direction in my life. He blessed me with this gift, and the gift keeps on giving. All of you have special gifts from God, from your Creator. I don't sing well. They would never even invite me to join any choir. Happy. No, sir. I can't join a choir. I can't join. No, I don't sing, but that's not my gift. This is my gift right here. So develop your gift, develop your craft, work on yourselves, study. Education is an ongoing process. It never ends. What you achieve in this life is directly tied to what you have in your minds. Study, learn as much as you can about your business. When you work for yourself, you're never off, happy. I'm never off. I always doing something. But it's easy because I'm doing it for me and I love what I do. As Confucius said, find something that you love to do and you'll never have to work a day in your life again because your work then becomes play. I love what I do. I could do it 7 days a week, 24 hours a day and still have a smile on my face. When Happy invited me for this program, I smiled and said, "Yes, sir. I'm happy to see Happy doing this. I'm happy to see you doing this. And Happy, you don't know, my sister and your aunt were classmates at Eastern Senior.
Okay.
Naomi.
Yeah.
My sister Viola, she's 90.
Yeah.
She turned 90 a couple of weeks ago. She lives in Hartford, Connecticut.
Right.
But she went back to school at age 50 to get her bachelor's degree at the University of Connecticut in Stores.
Wow.
You're never too old to learn, and that's why learning is so important. Many people just jump up, and Happy, we're not masters anymore. My father was a master carpenter. We don't master things. We just do whatever buck up goes and just get by and so forth. You got to carry it to 3 different mechanics before you can get it work. The repairmen come and they do half shorty work, all kind of things. We don't perfect our craft anymore. For the young people coming up, work on your craft. That's all I can say. Work on your craft. Believe in yourself. Believe in your dreams. Stay away from the negative people because they will steal your dreams and sap your energy. Don't listen to the negative chatter. There's always been thousands of people who can tell you can't do it, but maybe one who could encourage you.
Right. So there's one thing that you talk about the one just now, and the point is that in branding, it has an awesome amount of power behind branding.
Yes.
But what is the greatest power to me is that branding is all under your control.
That's right.
Nobody else. So
That's right.
look,
That's
if it's one thing in your life, in your business or your career that you could control, is your brand, and that can work for you. So work on self-investment and work on branding yourself.
Amen, brother.
Spence, thank you kindly. Kindly. Sorry the video was
appreciate
off
you.
at the
I'm proud of
beginning.
you. I wish you continued success as you step into more greatness, my brother. I'll see you at the top.
I received that, and we look forward to you and your loved one meeting some long day from now, but I'm sure she will live with you in your heart and continue to be successful as you were and be that support that you always had.
Thank you so much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. God bless you, sir.
You're welcome. So we pause and we think intentionally about what we want to do. And we ask you to consider where we ought to go. These things we hope you allowed you to do today. And so we give you another nugget of branding, self-branding, so that you could become more successful and become rainmakers in this Bahamas land, particularly in this revamped post-COVID environment. So thank you kindly. Thank you, Spence, again. Thank you to all of you for paying attention and listening to us. And we'll be back next week, same time, same bad channel. Good night.
God bless you, Happy.